say today we are back doing our Where in the World segment. Today we are joined by Miss Nimmer.
Today we have Mr. Dill, me, Shabrea, Sophia, Josie, Aiden, and our featured guest.
So what we'll be doing is asking this mystery person questions to figure out where she lives. Now, let's get started. First question.
Do you live in the northern or southern hemisphere?
Space mute currently muted. Activate press space.
Was that northern hemisphere? Okay. Next question.
What time is it right now?
Space mute currently muted. Hold A button to activate.
It is 12:45.
What language do you often speak?
I speak English.
Who's in charge in your country?
The President of the United States.
What's the weather right now?
It is cold and windy, and we are expecting snow.
Are there any mountains nearby?
There are no mountains.
What's the closest ocean?
We are about equal distance between the Pacific and the Atlantic, but a little bit closer to the Atlantic.
Okay, so northern, away from our equator because that's hot. We're not expecting snow, unfortunately. Okay, so up here.
I think I know.
It's 12:45, so it's in.
I think it's Pennsylvania because they live in the Atlantic Ocean, snowy at this time, I think. And I don't think there's mountains there. Is Pennsylvania correct?
It is not correct.
I'm thinking Michigan. I don't know why. Because it's in.
Okay, Sophia's on the right track.
Okay.
Very close.
Okay, so away from the equator, it's close to about the time that we're at right now. So 12:45. So it's on the shared time with us. Okay. I'm doing math, y'all. There's something going on. Clocks are ticking. They're expecting snow and it's cold and windy.
And it's not Michigan, but it's close to Michigan.
There's one it's like right next. Is it like No, I was lower, I think.
It's from Ohio.
Well, you both are right around it.
Oh my
Y'all
God.
looking at a map?
No, I'll pull one up. I got this. Okay, is it like Washington or like America? Okay, I got this, guys. Okay, so it's not Michigan and it's not Iowa and it's not. Did you say like Ohio?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's not that. That's a language map. That's not what I'm looking for. Okay, Minnesota.
No.
Okay, is it Wisconsin? Wisconsin?
No.
Okay, on the floor.
Y'all
Illinois?
Is it Jackson?
Jackson.
No.
And it's not Illinois.
You
North
are
Dakota?
so close. No, you're
It was close.
Wait, South Dakota?
you're getting further away.
Dang it.
So come back over
Sophia
here.
was like so close, like she was like boiling hot. She was so close to it.
Indiana, did I already say that?
It's Indiana.
Awesome. Good job.
Thank
All
you.
those map
He
skills.
always figures it out.
Bad skills. The clocks were ticking, the gears were spinning, the snow was falling, not here.
It's
But-
all good. So our featured guest is from Indiana. Mrs. Nimmer, if you want to turn your camera on, Mrs. Nimmer, like I said, is from Indiana. She is the 2015 Indiana Teacher of the Year, and she was a national finalist in 2015. She is, let's see, she's like a wealth of everything. She's an educator, speaker, coach, writer, guide dog handler, sports fan. So she is a little bit of everything, but being a sports fan, Kathy, so does that make you an Indianapolis Colts fan?
It does make me an Indianapolis Colts fan, but I love all kinds of sports, and from football to all kinds of Olympic sports, and pretty much anything sports, I'm on it.
So yeah, I'm sorry, I'm a big New England Patriots fan.
Oh no! Oh, if I'd known that, I never would have agreed to do this project with you. But
I can understand. But right now, we're down in Polk County, which is Central Florida, which is about 45 minutes away from Tampa. So everybody's cheering on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the Super Bowl. I'm kind of cheering because Tom Brady's there, former Patriot, and all that like stuff. So I'm going to stop talking. So because I know that you have a wealth of information and interesting things that you would probably like to share with the kids. So if you would like to start sharing, and students, if you have questions, just kind of like you can politely ask, but if you are dropping questions into the chat for Dariel, who's actually in a face-to-face class right now, and Aiden, if you want to drop them, Sophia will be reading those out later. All right, so there we go. So the floor is all yours, the screen is all yours, Mrs. Nimmer.
all right, well, it's so good to be here, and I've got a lot that I could tell you, and I'm not going to bore you with all that. But if you were listening to your teacher when he was introducing me, you might have been caught by one of the things that he said I am. I am a guide dog handler, and guide dogs help people who are blind. So I am totally blind, and it is distinctly possible that you have never met anybody who is blind yet in your life. It's possible you know someone, but it's also probably more possible you don't. So let me talk to you just a little bit about that part of things, and then I would love to hear any questions that you have. So when I was born, my vision worked perfectly well, and I went to public school, and I ran around the playground, and I learned to read and write, and everything was cool. But by the end of second grade, I started making mistakes when my teacher was writing things on the board. And it's not that I made careless mistakes, but I couldn't always tell what letter she was writing. So I'll just draw here in the air. Like if she would write an O, I couldn't tell if it was an O or maybe a C, which is the same shape, but it doesn't close. Or maybe it's an A, the O with the stick on the end. For numbers, she would write an 8. And I couldn't tell if it was an 8 or a 3. If you think about it, they're the exact same shape. It's just that the 3 got a shave off one side, and all kinds of mistakes. And so I started having lower grades on my papers, and my teacher knew that wasn't normal. So she recommended I go to an eye doctor. And my parents actually took me to 5 eye doctors, and all 5 of them told me that there was nothing wrong with my eyes, that I was doing this to get attention. I was making it up. And you've probably been in a situation where someone didn't believe you before, and it hurts, it makes you mad and it hurts. But my parents kept taking me to another doctor who saw something wrong in my eyes at the back, and I was referred to a specialist hospital, and I was diagnosed with a degenerative eye disease, which simply meant that one part of my eye was not functioning perfectly, and over the years that would get worse and my vision would go down. So from age 8 to about 23, my vision went down, down, down in very slow steps. But I left public school eventually, and I went to a school for the blind. Every state has a school for the blind. Ours is in Indianapolis. Yours down there in Florida is in St. Augustine. And those teachers taught regular subjects, but they also were trained to teach people with vision problems. So now I'm almost totally blind. I have what's called light perception, which means I can see kind of the glare of light, but nothing that it shines down on. So in the room where I am right now, I know it's daylight because there's a general glare of light, but I can't see any of the furniture. I can't see the computer here on my lap or anything like that. But you also heard that I have been a teacher. I teach English at the high school level, and I love to write. I've written a couple of books, and I do have a guide dog, and he's actually here near me. And at the end of our time, I will do my absolute best to convince him to come over and look at the screen so that you can see him. He is my fourth guide dog, and he is my wonderful companion, and his name is Nacho. Nacho. So if you were hungry, you are hungrier now because of Nacho. But he's wonderful, and I have a great and wonderful life, even though I cannot see. And that's the very, 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 very short version of my story. So I'd love to hear any questions that you might have. And that, again, was pretty rushed, but I'd love to answer anything you might want to know.
Okay, I have a question. Okay, so how are you so positive? Like,
you know, I'm positive because every single person has something that they wish was different about themselves, their opportunities, their abilities. And if we get stuck focusing on the things we can't do, then we're going to not do the things we can do. I'm not going to lie, I've had some really sad times, and I've not always been positive, but the opportunities in my life have been so wonderful that if I had just stayed really sad about not being able to see, I would have missed out on a whole lot. And on the flip side, even my blindness has given me opportunities. I have a wonderful fuzzy yellow lab to go with me everywhere. I have met young people who are blind, and I've been able to help them through their sadness and help them find a way forward. So it's all about where you choose to focus, and it's okay to be down, but you don't want to get stuck there because then you're going to miss out on some great opportunities.
that was beautiful.
Ha.
Any more questions? Okay, I have a question. Like, okay, you're a teacher. Like, how does that work? Like being because I know, like, I see and it's hard. Like, how does that, like, I don't even know how to phrase the question, but how does that work? How does, like, your classroom function, like, work with the kids in there?
Sure. Well, one piece, and you guys might have heard a tiny bit of it already. I use technology a ton, and adaptive technology, accessible technology is what has helped me have a career along with a good attitude. So, like, my laptop talks, and you might have heard something. You didn't know what it was because you didn't know I was blind. But I'm going to arrow around, or I'm going to tab around on the Zoom page, and you're probably going to hear a little robotic voice. I can't really estimate how loud it's going to be on your end, but you'll hear it anyway. And this is a screen reader on my laptop that makes the technology talk. So when my students turn in papers, they turn it in electronically, and I can read and grade and give feedback this way. But here's my talking program.
No buttons to activate. Disable this keyboard short. Yes buttons to activate. No buttons to activate. Press escape. Zoom in. Video settings. Close. Open. More options for participants. Close chat panel. Hold share screen. Hold this button to activate. Record on this computer. Hold R buttons to activate. Reactions buttons to activate. Press leave. Hold Q buttons to activate. Press space bar.
Okay, so that probably sounded like gibberish to you, but because I have it set pretty fast. But that just allows me to do pretty much anything with my computer. I have a talking iPhone. So technology helps me a lot. But in the classroom, students call out their names instead of raising their hands. There's a specific layout in the classroom so I can walk around without, breaking multiple bones in a given day. Most work, as I said, is turned in electronically. I have somebody who will project my technology for me, like an assistant just at the back of the room to run my technology and to enter grades, because that program is not accessible to me. Not all technology is. But honestly, once you kind of got over, and I'm reading from Braille, if I'm reading out loud, I'm reading from Braille with my fingers. But once you got past those things, you would pretty quickly forget that I'm blind. And one of my bigger compliments that a student can say to me is, "Oh, I forgot that you can't see. You know, they'll like raise their hand or they'll like say, "Oh, look at this picture" or whatever, and it always makes me smile because they're forgetting. Because that's not the most important thing about me. It's just one thing about me.
Do you have to have a certificate to be a guide dog trainer? Is that what you said?
I'm a guide dog handler, so I'm blind, so he guides me around. You have to be a blind person with a guide dog. You have to go through training, and the dogs have been trained at guide dog schools. The school where I got Nacho is in New York, and so they trained Nacho from when he was a puppy up till when he was almost 2. He was done with his training, and I flew out to New York and went through 3 weeks of training with him there. The trainers are the ones and the puppy raisers who take care of them when they're really little. They're the ones who get the dogs ready. And then blind people apply to the schools and then go and get the training. And then Nacho and I are a partnership. And like anything else, we get better and better with time. So he is 7.5. So we've been together 5.5 years and he's awesome.
Do you have to treat him differently than like a regular pet dog? I don't know if that sounds like a dumb question, but
it's not a dumb question at all. At home, he is not working. He is just a regular dog. He sheds and slobbers and plays and leaves toys all over the place for everybody to trip on. But when we put the harness on, you guys could look up a picture afterward of what a guide dog harness looks like. It's leather straps and then it has a handle on it. That's like his uniform. And when he has that on, he knows he's working. He won't socialize with anybody else or anything. He is listening for my commands, which include like forward and right and left. He's trained to stop at elevation changes. So like stairs or ramps or cracks in sidewalks. And then I am the one who really needs to know where I want to go. And then he filters that. So like if I'm standing in front of a huge trash bin that is blocking the sidewalk and I say forward, he's obedient, but he's also not stupid. So he's not going to be like, well, she said forward, here we go. And, you know, when we hit the trash bin and I fall in head first and he's standing there like, well, I just obeyed you. He has vision and training. And so he's not going to budge. He's not going to move. And then I would reach out with my hand, touch that trash bin, praise him because he made a good decision. And then when he knows I know that obstacle is there, when I say forward, he's going to go around it to the right or the left and then resume walking on the sidewalk afterward. So it's a total team effort.
Wow.
Thing is, it's a great learning opportunity because I don't know, that type of questions that you normally don't get the chance to ask. That you can, or maybe it's just me that wonders about these things. Kids, you got more questions? Oh, come on.
I like to tell everyone this, all of our guests so far, which is just 2 people, I think.
I think I know what you're
I've forgotten. I've told everyone this. When we were first starting doing this, Mr. was like, I haven't met any of these people before. This is going to be so awesome. Dream come true, you know? So he's freaking out. And when he first was like, so I'm going to invite this dude I was talking to do a segment. And I was like, hold up. You haven't met him before. You know, you don't
I know where this is going.
He could be catfishing you. So so first he was like, dream come true. And then the whole time I always have to waiting for the person to turn their camera on just to make sure like Mr. Dill's got this person like locked down. It's not on just here for the fun. Which would be fun, but
it's very cool.
There is an element of trust going on here. You know, I am trusting that everything is on the up and up, and Mrs. Nimmer obviously is. National finalist for Teacher of the Year. So does that mean that you got to go to Washington, D.C.?
Yes, all of the state teachers of the year get to go to D.C. as one of the 5 trips that we take during our year of honoring. And we went in 15 and got to go to the White House. And we met President Obama, who was the president at that time, in the Oval Office. And I was the first one of our group to meet him because I had a guide dog and we were recessing out to the rose garden for a ceremony after we met him. And if I'd gone late in the line, I would have been going up on the back of the risers, the high part, but I have a dog, you know, so, and we can't dangle the dog off the side of the riser. So I got to go first, and it was really cool. And he loves dogs. So he got to meet my dog, and he pet my dog. You're not supposed to pet a service dog, but when you're the president, you can pet a service dog. It's okay. So it was very cool.
You learn something new every day. I did not know that.
Yeah, and the reason you don't pet a service dog is because the dog is still a dog, and he'll lose focus, and he'll focus on you, and then he's going to make a mistake, and he'll get in trouble for the mistake. So it's like a guilt thing. Like, you don't want to be the one who causes the dog to mess up and get in trouble. So that's why you don't pet a service dog.
So what was it like being in the Oval Office? Like, obviously,
It was
focus on the census that you do have. What did it smell like?
I don't remember the smell, but the size felt smaller than I expected. The hallway that we went down to go into the Oval Office was quite narrow. I mean, it's not the big, wide, spacious architecture that newer buildings are. I was very struck by walking the short hallway that leads right to the door is definitely, I mean, it's not so narrow like I was pressing up against the walls, but it is not wide. And then the Oval Office just was not very big. And then the other thing that maybe you guys knew that I didn't know about the Oval Office is it has a door that leads directly outside to the Rose Garden. So we came in through the inner part, the little short, narrow hallway into the Oval Office. And then I had my time with Obama, and then I exited out to the right to a door that went immediately out to the Rose Garden. And I did not know that there was a door that went straight outside. I had no idea.
Interesting. How do you gauge space? Like how does that work? Like, how do you know? Like,
it's kind of with my ears, and you guys have it. You have this ability, but you don't use it that often because you have your eyes. If you were walking down a hallway silently, and you suddenly that hallway suddenly opened into a big wide space, and again, you're silent, it's just the echo of being physically alive in a place sounds different. Like, absolutely, totally believe that all of you could walk down a hallway with your eyes closed, and you would know the minute that it opened up to either another hallway or a great big room, the sound just changes. And it's not perfect and precise. Like, I couldn't give you the measurements of the Oval Office, but I know that it was not large and echoey, and it just felt a lot smaller. Now, there were Secret Service men in there as well. I mean, and a photographer and all that. So it was sort of crowded, but it definitely was smaller than I expected.
awesome. I'm surprised that y'all don't have more questions. Y'all are being shocked.
Which president did you meet?
President Obama. That was 2015, and he was finished in 2016. So, yeah.
Sophie, Daria put a question in there.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I didn't see it. Daryl wants to know if you are still a teacher.
At this moment, this year, I do not have students. I am helping the new teachers in my district. So I have adult students in a sense. So this year I don't have my high schoolers. I have all of the new teachers who started teaching during this crazy year, and I'm trying to help them have a better year.
Darielle wants to know, is it difficult to teach as a blind teacher?
Definitely, I had a terrible start, and I really made lots and lots and lots of mistakes at the beginning. But when I look back at it, the worst part of my mistakes was I was trying to minimize being blind, like I was trying to hide it. And so I wasn't moving around because I didn't want to bump into desks. So I was standing up front behind the podium. I didn't want to be silly and funny because I couldn't read their facial expressions to see if they thought it was fun. So I was really serious. I didn't want to call them by the wrong name So I didn't call them by name. I just lectured. So every single thing I just said, your teacher and all of you would agree, those are not good things for a teacher to do all the time. I was doing them all the time because I didn't want my blindness to be a thing. And my class was way out of control. It was terrible, horrible. I almost quit. But then when I realized I am blind, and that is the same thing as me being tall and the same thing as me loving sports, it's just part of me. And so when I stopped trying to hide those things, I was much more natural. We laughed, I drew on the board, and I like made fun with it, and everything started to change then. So it was hardest at the beginning when I was trying to hide who I was and try to make it not a factor when there's no way it could be a factor. It couldn't be a factor. It had to be there. So it's been a lot better since then.
You said like podium and lectures. Do you teach like college or high school, or
High school. So mostly 10th, 11th, and 12th grade.
So what's your favorite thing to cover in those classes? Like, what's your favorite like lesson topic or book to read? What's like the one thing that you love doing there?
Creative writing. I love to write, and I had the class called creative writing for 27 years. Now you guys know I'm old, but you probably knew that already. And I loved creative writing, every bit about creative writing. That was my specialty.
Alert from Dariel.
Dariel says, how do you grade and take attendance for your students?
Grading is mostly online, so the students turn in electronically, and I use this talking computer to read their work and grade it and write them feedback. So technology was really important. And attendance, mostly the person who ran my technology, like who would project on my whiteboard and all, mostly she would take that attendance.
Awesome. I'm like dumbfounded at your expertise, you know, because I'm like thinking the struggles that I have with all my senses, and you're like, I don't know, inspirational to see. I mean, and honestly, when you said 27 years, yeah, I would have never put 27 years of teaching underneath you.
Well,
honestly, that was not like, I was not going to even come close to that number 2-time teaching.
Well, thank you. I did a TED Talk that you could look up if you ever wanted to show that to the students to learn a little more about me. And my dog, the dog I had right before Nacho, is the one who's on the TED Talk with me. But see, I'm no more inspirational than anybody who decides that, yep, this thing is not super good, I'm not great at this, or I need to work harder at this, but I'm going to do it anyway, and I'm going to live life to the fullest. And I have my bad moments too, but again, it's all about not getting stuck in one place. And I love my life. I've had a terrific life, and I hope lots more terrific things are right around the corner.
The whole TED Talk thing, you're like a celebrity, because TED Talk is just where the teachers go. Yeah, you're celebrity status now. You've met Obama and you were on TED Talk. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, a TED Talk. I thought she said TikTok.
No. Do not look for me on TikTok. I'm not there, but I did do a TED Talk. That's awesome.
Okay, we have more questions.
Question. Did you do more, did you ever teach your students more than just creative writing, or did you just do creative writing?
No, I did a lot more. I had 10th grade English that had everything, you know, the reading, writing, grammar, vocab in it. And then I did senior composition, which were a lot of the research papers and things to get them ready for college. It's just creative writing. Creative writing was my favorite.
Dariel says, how do you know when a student raises their hands?
They just call out their first names instead of raising their hands. So they would call out Dariel, and if two people called out, I would sort out between the two names and call one of them back, and that's the person who would answer. If there were too many people in the room, I would have half of the room. You know, okay, I'm going to ask this question. The right half of the room who wants to answer, and they call out their names. So almost always calling out names.
I have another question. What would you give advice? Like what advice would you give us?
I would tell you that if you are interested in something that just makes you joyful, and even if it's a lot of work, but it makes you joyful, then you try to find a way to make that what you do in life all the time. Because that's going to make it easier, it's going to make you happier, and it is using the gifts that you were given to make the world better. If you're trying to be something that you're not, you're going to be unhappy, and it's not going to go well, and you're not going to be making anybody's life better. That's why I was trying to be what I was not when I was trying to hide my blindness as a teacher at the beginning, and that didn't work. And once I changed that around, I loved it. So first, maybe going back to, don't get stuck anywhere in one place when you're sad or anything, but then go for that thing that makes you happiest and find a way to make that the center of what you do, and you will love it. You'll be happy, and you'll be changing the world.
Oh my gosh.
I have a question.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was really good.
So
I have a question.
inspirational.
How would you drive? Do you drive?
That is a pain. I'm going to tell you, that makes me frustrated because I can't drive yet. You guys know they're making those cars, those self-driving cars, but I'm not getting in any one of those until they got that all figured out. They need to perfect that before I'm in there. So people drive me, friends or family, colleagues. I can of course take Uber or taxi or bus, but mostly it's friends and family who drive me. But I do wish I could drive.
Awesome. Okay, we are running short on time. We do appreciate you, Mrs. Nimmer, for joining us today.
Okay, do you want to see Nacho on the recording, or should I hold that till later?
Sure, let's bring Nacho.
Yeah, let everybody see the cute doggy.
Janaea.
Hey, is he there?
Oh,
Here, buddy. There. Can you see him again?
Yes, looking.
Yeah.
So
Hey,
cute.
Nacho.
That's a big dog.
Yes, he is a big yellow lab, and he has no idea why he was looking at that computer screen.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that with us and sharing him with us. All right, so Sophia, you want to do the closing?
Thank you for joining us, Miss Nimmer, and thank you everyone for watching. That's all for today, JSA. Goodbye.
Bye.
subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe.